Hello, everyone. My name is Shanae Jones, and this is KNKY, which stands for Know the New Kinky You. I'm a certified sex coach, and my job is to help people have the best sex of their lives. And if you have a hindrance, concern, or anything that's potentially bothering you about your sex life and you want to look for ways to improve it, then I am the person to talk to. So, what I do on this channel is to provide you with information that I think would be helpful to help perhaps answer some questions that you may have, or just provide general information that might not be at the top of your brainstem when thinking about sex. So, we are having a conversation. So, this is a three-part series on general sexual health, but not in the way that you would typically think. So when most people talking about sexual health, they're usually thinking about STIs or some type of other performance deficiency. And so we're not really talking about that on this series. So let me ask you a question. For you, what does it mean to be physically fit? So when we think about physical fitness, we think about going to the gym and spending hours trying to like work out and yes, all of that is important, but there are some non-traditional ways to think about physical fitness. And so when we're talking about sexuality and being sexual, there is the ability to have sex and increase that physical fitness, because being sexually aroused increases your heart rate, it increases your number of beats per minute during orgasm. So, great. Sex is good for your health, right? So, statistics indicate that men who have regular sex are 45% less likely to develop heart disease. And so let me back up for a second. Regular sex, right? What does it mean to have regular sex? Now, frequency of sex depends on the person, the couple, the situation that you're in. There are a lot of factors that can consider regular sex. So, if you look at the video I did on how much is normal for sex, then you'll get some additional information. Okay, so I'm going to provide you I provided some stats on the averages of sex by age group, and so between your 20s and 30s and 40s and 50s, what does sex look like by averages based on those statistical studies, right? So if we're not going to talk about it right here, but check out that video if you haven't had the opportunity. So moving on, research has shown that men in particular have shown some very significant health benefits of sex. And I will go back to say that that's probably because throughout history, women have been less studied when it comes to sex and sexuality, perhaps because we are less vocal about the things that perhaps bother us about sex. And then when we have been vocal, they've been denoted as hysteria. So I have a whole nother subject about hysteria. But a study published in the American Journal of Cardiology suggested that men in their 50s that have sex at least twice a week have a 45% reduced risk of heart disease. I'll say it again. Men in their 50s who have sex at least twice a week have a 45% reduced risk of heart disease. Wow, right? So here it is that you have sex, and to me, I'm thinking, okay, if you have sex twice a week and you eat some Cheerios, you don't have to worry about heart disease. So maybe, I don't know, we'll test it. But seriously, According to the American Heart Association, if you have heart disease, there's no repercussions to having sex as long as that condition has been stabilized. So think about if you already have heart disease and you are sexually motivated, there should not be any real concerns about actually physically engaging in sex. So according to the what you consider having an orgasm, right? So an orgasm, to me, an ejaculation is different from an orgasm. An ejaculation is a physical release of semen into the universe, right? You've now physically ejaculated. An orgasm, for me, is that whole buildup and intensity that you get throughout your body, and it's a release of energy. There are physical associations that complement that vary in degrees, but an orgasm is different. So when you are having sex and you are trying to think about the benefits of it, the biggest thing that you can do, the best thing that you can do is stop for a second and think about your body and how your body responds to certain stimuli. Now, changing pace just a little bit. We're talking about the health benefits of sex. What do you think your biggest sex organ is? And if you say your penis, that is the incorrect answer. Your brain is the biggest sex organ that you have. Our brains tell us that we are enjoying what it is that we have going on. And if you look at the video that I did on sex, brain, and life, you will see that a lot of the research that goes on that we know about our sexual selves is based on animal research. So researchers find that when we find ways to apply what we learn through science and research with animals, we can figure out human sexuality. And doing research on human sexuality the Kinsey Institute is a foundation of where people do research on human sexuality. But again, still a lot of the things that we learn through animal research. So the University of Maryland reported that middle-aged rats who were sexually active showed signs of improved cognitive and hippocampal function. You actually have improved brain function related to sex. And there was a university in Seoul, Korea that suggests that sex improves memory, especially other researchers said, especially in women. The more you have sex, that you are able to have recognition memory. So like you're able to see things quickly and recognize them, and sex contributes to that cognitive function. There are other researchers that said that sex actually grows your neural pathways. You can create new neural pathways when it comes to higher frequencies of sex. So when you think of sex being a physical act, it's not just a physical act. So we were talking before about the orgasm. Like people expect that ejaculation, that orgasm, that release, and it's not just about the physical response. Your brain has a contributing factor to that physical response. Because again, I've said it before, if you're not mentally into it, if your head isn't in the game, then the physical act is not going to be as pleasurable as it should be. So from a mental perspective, it's here in your head space about what you're enjoying, but it's also has actual physical cognitive effects on your brain. So some research actually suggests that when you have, and this is, when I'm doing my research, fake sex, which they consider porn, that has a different response than natural sex. Some researchers, and not all researchers even, some researchers have biases. Researchers have biases, not some researchers have biases. And so there was some research out of Texas that indicated that porn addiction led to brain damage. Of course, that was challenged, but what we get out of that is that there has been other research that says watching porn, even a little bit of porn, can affect our memory. So when we are dealing with our working memory, and this is specific to working memory, and working memory is defined as the ability to juggle and pay attention to multiple items, so multitasking. Watching porn can specifically affect that part of our brain where we can multitask. Studies have shown this, but again, when you're doing research, it really just depends on who you want to listen to. So here are a summation of 6 ways that the brain can help with, how sex can help with your brain life, right? So going back to the brain cells, frequent sex can help to grow new neural pathways. It can help to create ways that your brain is opening up new pockets of information. So again, the University of Maryland showed that with the rats, that the more sex you have, the better cognitive performance you have. But it also showed that if you have a really, really good stint of high sexual energy and you've created these new neural pathways, that if you stop having that high level of sex, that high frequency of sex, that those cognitive benefits diminish, although the new neural pathways still exist. So you have to keep it up, use it or lose it. Protection from chronic stress. So we all know that stress is no good. It's no good in your life. It doesn't play a good role in it at all. So we need to figure out ways to mitigate stress. And sex is one of those ways. So according to one study, frequent sex protects us from a stress hormone called corticosterone. So sorry for that. I wanted to make sure I said it right, but corticosterone. So what that does is there's a stress hormone that gets triggered, and this helps to down our mood and depress us, and sex can help alleviate that. And I'm not sure about you, but I know that a good session after a bad day can change all kinds of things around. So stress is bad for us, and sex can help stress. It boosts memory. So we talked about this a little earlier. So, remember within the mice that they had better recognition memory function. And so a different study had about 1,700 people between the ages of 58 and 98. So showed that those that were more sexually active, had better sex lives, like more functioning versus abstaining, had better memory. So I don't know, cure to autism is sex, maybe. I don't know. Not autism, Alzheimer's, sorry. Alzheimer's disease. Let's see, enhanced analytical skills. So here the thought process is that when we are having sex, we are focused. We're focusing on the present, and we are focusing on the moment and the details of what's going on. And so we're being very analytical in our functioning. So the more sex we have, the more we carry over this analytical processing in other aspects of our lives. So it enhances our analytical skills. And then sex makes us social. So one thought is that when we are having sex, and so for me, I'm a very introverted person. Even doing these videos is a little nerve-wracking for me, but I serve a purpose, or at least I feel like I serve a purpose. So, alcohol is something that some people use to, feel social. Sex is also something that can help you feel social. So when you're about to go out, especially if you're going out with your partner, if y'all have sex before you go, then the cortisone releases in your, I'm sorry, not cortisol, oxytocin releases in your body, so that it builds these euphoric feelings, and you're able to say, hey, I'm having fun, I'm good, I'm social. So sex actually helps reduce social anxiety because of the release of the oxytocin that goes out into your body. And then, have you ever heard brain games? It's like, when you do puzzles and Sudoku and things like that to help increase your brain activity. Those things sex can also have the same effect, if not a better effect, as those type of brain games. So a Rutgers University actually studied individuals via MRI as they were having an orgasm. And what they found was that while people are used to having, while they're playing their board games, their brain games, that parts of their brain kind of light up, while they're actually having sex and having an orgasm, your whole brain lights up. It's like it's a whole brain activity thing. So with that being said, sex is a brain function. There's even research on how sex helps us live longer. So between, it being a healthy act for, exercising your body, it's something that is heart healthy. It reduces stress. It creates new brain pathology, better brain pathology. It is a combination for longevity. Now, sex is something that we should all strive to have for as long as we can have it. It is something that we should look forward to for an extended period of our life. I applaud our seniors who are still getting it in. I hope to be one of them one day. So I hope that you found this information useful. I have other videos, so please feel free to check out all of the new content, old content, new content. If you have comments, questions, or things that you want more information on, feel free to contact me. I am on all social media, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram is the one that I spend probably the most time on. And even the website, everything is DOYOUKNKY, which stands for Do You Know the New Kinky You. I'm Shanae, your resident certified sex coach, and I will talk to you again soon.